Take your stinking paws off me, you damn dirty ape!
We're going streaking!
Dave's Video Graveyard.
That guy in a little coat.
At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought.
I'm not a smart man.
Shut up!
One tubby.
What's wrong with him?
My first thought would be alive.
Why so serious?
Wise man say forgiveness is divine, but never pay full price for late pizza.
Hail to the king, baby.
Hey, Ma! The meatloaf! We want it now! The meatloaf!
Of all the radio shows in the world, this is definitely one of them. Dave's Video Graveyard on 100.5 WOWFM.
Okay, you people sit tight, hold the fort, and keep the home fires burning. And if we're not back by dawn, call the president.
It is 100.5 WOWFM, Dave's Video Graveyard for your Monday evening. It is an absolute pleasure to be with you. And with me, as not always, is my good friend Shannon from High Fidelity. Shannon, how you going?
I'm doing pretty well, Dave. Thanks for having me on the show. Filling in for Paul, who, I don't know where he is. He must have come on Thursday and seen what a good radio show is like and decided he might not come in tonight.
Perhaps. Or maybe he kind of lowered the bar, getting used to not having any listeners.
Yes.
He's like, I don't know how to go back now.
So he's guaranteed no listeners tonight by not coming in.
Hey, don't upset our listener. Joining us tonight, it is once again a fantastic guest choice special. We are joined by 1/3 of the Gods and Monsters from Riot City Wrestling. It is professional wrestler, Big Brodie Marshall. How you doing, dude?
Good, Dave. How are you, man? Thanks for having me on.
No, not a problem. I've got to be honest to start up. I actually thought I was booking the pro wrestler Big Toady Marshall, that is the guy from Neighbours.
Oh, my God.
And sadly, he didn't show up.
No, you got the raw end of that deal, man.
No, thank you so much for joining us. It's awesome to have you. A very diverse list, including one film that I don't think is even on any of the actors in the films list. So
brilliant.
That's a bit exciting.
I'm actually really interested to find out which one that is.
So, pro wrestling, you're a local boy?
Yes, I am. Adelaide, born and bred.
And for all our listeners out there that can't see you, which is all of them, how tall are you?
Okay, so wrestling height or real height?
It's totally up to you.
Okay, wrestling height, I'm 6'10". Real height, I'm 6'6".
Oh, wow.
So I've just destroyed illusions.
Wow.
Ruined them
What
all.
a weakling.
Is that because of the platform shoes when you wrestle? Or?
No, it's just we try to make ourselves larger than life. So,
how did you get into wrestling?
I got into wrestling really late. I've always loved it. I started watching wrestling when I can remember it. I swear to God, when I was 5 years old, I remember watching a WrestleMania. I think it was on Channel 10 on free-to-air TV back. I'm an old bugger, by the way.
Right.
So I actually started it when I was 33 years old, 32, 33. I played footy, like a SA, like
Are you
AFL
so
footy.
old that the wrestling was in a coliseum and everyone was naked?
Yeah, pretty much.
Sweet.
Pretty much. Back to my heritage, yeah. And then, I just loved it. And I played footy, like just local Southern League footy. And I'd pretty much had enough of that. So I thought I went to a couple of local shows. I went to, which was originally NWA show, which turned into 01, which is now Wrestle Rampage.
Right, yeah.
I went to one of their shows first. And then me and another guy called Todd Mitchell, who's also in the wrestling business now as Todd Eastman, we went to a Riot City show. And that blew my mind. And I went, I'm going to give this a go. And if I don't give it a go now, I'm never going to give it a go. And I've been doing it.
Playing footy? And you're like, I need to step it up.
No, actually, I mean, look, in all honesty, wrestling is it's harder than footy in regards to the toll overall that it gives on your body, but it's easier than footy because you know what's coming.
Yeah.
So you cop a heap of pain, but you know when and where, roughly when and where you're going to get hit. And we practice so much that we try to. I don't know if I'm meant to be giving you total kayfabe
No,
here or not, mate.
hey.
Good. So we practice so much that we safety is the number one thing. So that's all we sort of concentrate on. But I mean, look, I'm not going to lie, it still hurts a lot sometimes.
Now, you may have noticed, being that the big boy league being the WWE,
Yep.
has changed a little bit, but not enough kind of to keep interest. But the Indies in the last 10 years has become where it's at with quality, speed, just interest, everything about it.
Work rate, everything.
Have you noticed the speed pick up?
Yes.
Well, it's the same, I guess, with all sports now. Like you look,
Pretty much.
You look at gridiron, you look at AFL.
Yep.
It is lightning compared to what it used to be.
Yeah, completely. And for those that don't watch wrestling, the psychology. So wrestling.
No,
is,
don't even talk to those people.
Oh, okay.
Don't talk to them.
The psychology behind it has changed as well. So, which has made it a lot faster and a lot more cardio intense. And it's not. I mean, it still matters, but it's not so much about the big bodies anymore. It's about ability and character. So it's changed a lot, and it's changed for the better. It's made it more accessible to a lot more people than it previously would have. And a lot of the old traditional rules and somewhat hazing has gone out of the sport as well. So which is a good thing. But there's definitely, I mean, you'd know, Dave, but there's definitely a fairly strong subculture in wrestling that a lot of people don't know about, and there's a lot of respect and all that sort of stuff for what is a predetermined sport.
Just not on the internet chat rooms.
No, but that's your keyboard warriors, and the minority have the loudest voice, unfortunately. So, but
cardio being their only weakness,
not their only weakness. No. But it's
type 2 cardio.
Yeah, exactly. It's changed a lot, and it's just it's become more refined, I would say.
Now, in my time of going to Riot City Wrestling shows, I have noticed a bit of a change in your character. Obviously, starting out, you had the very southern-themed, like almost cowboy-type theme.
Gimmick, yeah.
And you've started leaning towards a celebrity that you bear a striking resemblance to.
Yeah. So I look like Russell Crowe, for the people that don't. Well, I get told I look like Russell Crowe. My beard's probably too long for that now, but...
I would like to ruin your life and point out a missed opportunity with your character.
Go for it.
The fact you didn't call yourself Russell Crowe because you're so tall and you look like Russell Crowe.
You know what the other one is?
No.
Wrestle Crowe.
Oh! There it is.
That's the one that we go with. So,
I'm sorry, but Big Brodie Marshall forever will be a silver medal.
There you go. Yeah, so I started off with a cowboy gimmick, did that for a few years, and then I turned into a bad guy, and then I was sort of a bit of a generic, not generic, but I just had black tights and had BBM written down the side and whatnot.
Is that for big bowel movement?
No, actually I can't say what we...
Big bad man.
Yeah, that's it, that'll do.
Yeah.
And then, it was actually Brian Cage, who's an American wrestler. We were talking about it one night, drinking. Well, he wasn't drinking, he doesn't drink, but we all were, at a Korean barbecue place at the end of an international tour. And he's like, if you don't do the Russell Crowe thing, you're stupid. And I went with it.
And you've gone into the whole
gladiator thing, yeah.
And that's the best. And that's one thing, like, I got my kids into a lot of the local indie stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And they loved it. And I, almost to an unsettling amount, drummed the Attitude Era of wrestling and WCW. Basically the Monday Night Wars.
Which is the best era.
Yeah, that's all my kids have seen.
Yeah, brilliant.
And so we went to the locals, and at the time we were going north to the Snake Pit Boys.
Yep.
And there was a lot of, I guess, workshopping on the go going on. Yep. So there was a lot of out there character work that wasn't necessarily great. Then jumped over to the other guys. We went to EPW, which became Wrestle Rampage, as well as Riot City. And we've noticed, like, with the change of just, since the death of kayfabe, basically, across the board, the characters have kind of dialed it back. And I think it's time for a resurgence. I want the silliness over the topness. And it's awesome. Like, you ask the kids at the end of a show when, like, yourself and Grim, your tag team partner, walk out, you've got the whole visual, basically you're a walking vignette, walk out to the ring. The kids are going to remember that more than the dude in the trunks.
Oh, yeah, totally.
And it's what got me into wrestling. So.
Well, I wrestled in Melbourne Friday night.
Yep.
for international assault and
Name
World
drop.
Series. Yeah, World Series Wrestling. Wrestled Joey Ryan. Another name drop. And we were selling merch at intermission, and that's the exact feedback we got was people love the characters. So they're like, "Oh, you're my new favourite tag team," and all those sorts of comments, and didn't know where we were from. They're like, "Where you from?" Like,
because when you go to a show where there's a card of 6 guys all in trunks, you describe, like, particularly if you don't follow it too closely, if you're a casual fan, you describe it visually. You're like, oh, I like the second match with the guy that blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But if it's all guys in trunks, it's like, oh, it kind of all ran together.
Yeah, definitely. And I think you'll find that gimmicks are coming back. So,
sweet.
Even like your Marty Skrull and stuff like that, even though like he wrestles just in trunks or whatever, he's got the whole theatre production at the start. Joey Ryan's a gimmick. All those sorts of things. It's sort of.
I'll say Finn Balor is actually what got me checking out the product again.
Yeah,
and then I was like, whoops,
with the demon?
and I left again. Yeah,
Indie Finn or
no, more so when he was in WWE. That's when I came back because I kind of jumped off in like 2005 because I was a WCW guy, absolutely obsessed.
So was I.
And wrestling's probably the best example of how bad Coke would get if Pepsi wasn't around. That's how I think the wrestling scene went.
Yep.
So I kind of jumped watching like my heroes from WCW basically jobbing to like the WWE guys, and the whole invasion angle sucked.
It did.
And I was like, I'm out of here. I'm going to cry into my VHS cassettes of the wrestling I love.
Yeah.
But yeah, Finn Balor brought me back in, and it's still not quite where I want it to be. And every now and then they wheel out the old guys to like play fan service to us guys.
Yeah, for sure.
Still not there, but I've found the indies is where it's at.
And that's that's what I like as well. Me personally, I find the current main product, who I've got friends wrestling in there at the moment, is a little bit too colourful and sterile for my personal taste. I like a little bit of grunge to it, and that's what the indies offer. And just I find the variety of matches is fairly similar within, especially now that it's a 3-hour show. To be honest with you, I hardly watch wrestling at all, and the fact that I do it every second week is sort of sometimes a contradiction, but being able to do things like I did last weekend with Americans and whatnot is you just learn so much from those guys.
And we caught up on the weekend. We spoke a little bit about Australia's become a bit of a destination for the indie circuit, whereas it was kind of Australia was a punchline when it come to the thing. It was like, why fly there? You know? Why go fly there, wrestle for 50 people when I can do that, in a little, backwoods town?
Yeah.
And then they come here and like, there is a real thirst for wrestling here.
And the talent here is really, really good. I mean, you've got your Adam Brooks. I mean, a lot of people won't know who I'm talking about here, but Adam Brooks, Robbie Eagles, all those sorts of guys.
Yep.
Jermaine, J-Rock, all those guys are sort of hitting the
friend of the show.
Oh, there you go. They're all hitting the international scene now and actually making waves. And you got people like Matt Sill, Buddy Murphy, Rhea Ripley.
Riot City's very own.
Rhea Ripley, who came from... I actually helped train Rhea Ripley.
Well, don't tell anyone, will you?
Certainly won't. All those sorts of people. You got the Iconics and all that sort of stuff in there. They're all Aussies that have all come up through this school of thought and training and been really successful in it. So it's all positive stuff. The scene's going well.
We have a somewhat of an oracle that does a lot of fact checking for our show online each week.
Yeah.
And he pointed out that Beautiful Mind, Brodie Marshall, would work really good. But still, Wrestle Crowe has made Big Brodie Marshall a silver medal for the rest of your career for me. I'll always know what could have been.
Yeah, I know. I'll take it.
Shannon, will you fight Brodie on air tonight? That's the real question.
Well, since radio is not a visual medium, absolutely, I'm keen.
We'll say it happens.
It's going to be a radio play.
Definitely. Well, I'd never experienced wrestling at all before. I hadn't really watched it on TV, hadn't done any of that. And then Dave invited my son and I along to one of the local indie matches. It blew me away how much fun it was. It was beautiful. Just, I was thinking...
Was that our indie match or was it...
No.
Oh, okay, so let's not talk about it.
Well, it was... if yours is better than this one, it must be phenomenal. Because we went thinking, I'll be polite, I'll turn up and maybe after half an hour I'll take the little fella and we'll go. And we stayed the entire night and my son has been pestering me to go back and see more. So I was...
Because we are a neutral show here.
Yeah.
So you go to Rampage?
Yeah,
Yeah, cool. And they do it like... that's I will say that us and Rampage will put on quality shows.
Definitely.
And that's what, and we pride ourselves on production and all that
That
sort of
is
stuff.
a beautiful bit of diplomatic,
political.
that was
just
beautiful.
kept that,
Well, because I did show some interest in being a valet. I never wanted to get injured, so I wouldn't step into
You
the
should
ring.
still totally do it, man.
And I was part of the Snake Pit days to a degree as thing. Great friends with Zach Sabbath, who went on
Who's
to Riot
now-
City,
now with us, yep.
and Mike Boomer, who's gone to Wrestle
Rampage,
Rampage. So
yep.
I have to keep it cool.
And they're both great lads. I know both of them.
Yeah.
Yep.
Someone else
across
is
the
name
board.
dropping too.
Excuse me, I'm like up here.
His hand was very low if you didn't get to see that.
That's not very nice. We might go to a song for another 2 hours, and that'll be the show done. This is Dave's Video Graveyard on WOWFM. It is Dave's Video Graveyard, for the first time ever playing one of the two worst musical styles there are on earth, and it is country, and the other being western.
Strongly
that was
disagree.
Johnny Cash with Strong Disagree.
Strongly disagree, my friend.
Oh, you're lucky you're out of reach, because I would knock you unconscious. So, we're going to go into trailer trash. Also, shout out to Paulie, who can't be here tonight for reasons. And hopefully he's back next week, because, Shannon can't be pulling double duties of not being listened to on two different shows.
I know. My no listeners will feel like I'm cheating on them.
When that S goes on to listen, the ego just goes. Because technically, if one person listens to two shows, that's listeners.
That's true.
So can I come on your show is what I'm saying. All right, this week I sent out the trailers to watch, and Shannon just ignored the message.
You did? I didn't get it. 100%.
Oh, really?
Not
Okay.
there.
All right.
But I regularly sit and watch trailers all the time, so I'm sure I've seen all of them.
No, well, I'm gonna find it, and we're gonna fact check your excuse.
Jamie will know. He'll send through.
Yeah. True. All right, so the first one was the live-action trailer for The Lion King, which got both my nostalgia and my pants excited. What did you guys think?
I'm just interested. Is
CGI? Sorry.
Is it going to be shot for shot? Because the trailer looks like it almost is.
Pretty
I
close.
feel like they possibly did it that way to pay fan service, but surely it's not going to be shot for shot.
Because if you go shot for shot, you almost can just use the dialogue and the songs from the original. You don't need anyone else to come.
Well, that's what me and my wife and I watching the trailer were talking about it, and the only thing that we're like, oh, I'm fine with Donald Glover taking over from Jonathan Taylor Thomas. Who I'm sure he's pretty busy, running the subway or something. But the thing to me was, I really need Nathan Lane back.
Yeah.
I need Timon and Pumbaa.
Yep.
Because they brought James Earl Jones back as Mufasa.
I saw that.
I saw
He
that
sounds
too.
like he's struggling, much like he did in Rogue One.
Yes.
With his Vader lines. It's like they've now put reverb on an already amazing, iconic, reverby voice. So, should be interesting to see, though. How do you reckon you'll go watching a live action / CGI Mufasa die?
I don't know.
Spoiler.
Yeah. I want to see Scar.
It's 25
It's
years
25,
old.
I want to see what Scar looks like. I'm really excited for that. I don't know why, but I thought he was super cool.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Mufasa dying. That killed me the first time I saw it.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh god. And then seeing it in live action, it'll probably kill me again.
The next trailer was Once Upon a Deadpool, being the PG version of Deadpool 2. And the trailer is framed much like The Princess Bride. Have you seen that trailer at all?
Yes, I thought that was pretty cool. Is he? I wasn't sure whether he's in the same pajamas from the
It's
film.
the exact same
It's identical.
bedroom,
That is
same
so
toys on the bedhead, because I know
Amazing.
some toy guys that are nerds. No, it was all the same toys. That looks pretty awesome, but my kids have already seen the R-rated versions of both, so not getting my money again.
There must be a lot of reshoots and extra scenes, or it'll take 20 minutes.
That's what I was speaking about with my friend when we were watching it. I'm like, well... And that's another thing. A lot of the original Deadpool, it was a stunt guy in the suit most of the time. And then it was all A&R. There was about 10 different jokes per scene.
Yeah.
And they just edited the jokes together. Also this week, TJ Miller came out and said that he won't be involved with Deadpool 3.
Oh, that was
But
his decision.
I was going to say...
Isn't he in trouble?
Yeah, given his lifestyle and his late decisions, he won't be invited back anyway. Speaking of not being invited back, another film on the list was The Secret Life of Pets 2.
Why did
We're
that
not getting
need to
any Louis C.K. back for some reason.
Oh.
Now, I've
I
always...
wouldn't know why.
I'm that kind of loser that has a lot of time on my hands, but I've always wanted, watching a lot of Disney films and Pixar and stuff, I've always really wanted David Cross, the comedian, did so many really amazing offensive stand-up specials in the 90s, went on to obviously have a Disney career doing voiceovers and stuff. Louis C.K., another one. I always wanted someone to get the audio of what he used to say and put it lip sync to like the characters they played. Someone did do it with the guy from Men Behaving Badly when he was Bob the Builder's voice.
Oh, yes.
They took a lot of Tony's voice from it. And yeah, I'd like to do that. So do you want to see Secret Life of Pets 2 with Patton Oswalt instead of Louis C.K.?
I saw the first Secret Life of Pets, and after it, I wished I hadn't seen the first one, so I'm pretty sure I don't need to see the second one.
The movie is terrible, but the soundtrack is... Whoever's working on the soundtrack of that film is not in the wrong job. Like, I feel like it was an absolute like music nerd.
Yep.
Because it's almost jarring how good the music is in that shitty movie. Okay, there was another trailer for Aquaman released, because now with blockbusters you need, say it's a 2-hour film, you need at least an hour of footage put into all the trailers before the movie comes out.
I think that's so that when you're watching the movie, you can go, oh, that's the bit from the trailer.
I was going to say, it builds up a false nostalgia where you're like, oh, I remember when I saw this 6 months ago. I watched Overlord, just a side note, this week. Illegally, but still great film, because Kurt Russell's son looks like Kurt Russell. So
really?
I'm on board.
He was in that Black Mirror episode, and
I knew him from 21 Jump Street, the second one, 22 Jump Street. Right. He's the blonde football player guy.
Yeah. Because we'll probably talk about it, but the Christmas Chronicles has got the other son.
Yes.
In there as well, which was pretty interesting. I didn't even know there was a third one.
This time in Aquaman trailer, we got a few more shots. That Aquaman outfit still doesn't look cool.
No, neither does King Neptune. No, it's just like, oh, God, this looks terrible.
I can't help but watch it and think, they're just trying to do Thor.
Yeah, pretty much. It's
underwater Thor.
They want... Basically, they're going, Jason Momoa, you look awesome. Can you somehow have the personality of all the Ninja Turtles? Because that'll sell toys to kids. We need you super cool, but at the same time, you have to wear this.
And Willem Dafoe's in it and looks weird as hell.
I was like, have they done the second Tron movie? Have they done the anti-aging thing or something? Because he looks like he's made out of rubber.
Yeah.
And it's weird to hear the Green Goblin teaching.
Yes.
Jake the Muss is in it.
Yes, he is.
I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce that guy's name. But I was excited to see him in it. Lego Movie 2, I was going to see that no matter what. The new trailer dropped just this week. Really love, there's a joke in it. A new character gets... Have you seen the newest trailer?
I haven't managed to see this one.
A new character gets introduced, and I'm pretty sure it's also voiced by Chris Pratt.
Right.
And he goes, oh, what's your name? And he's got like some superhero name, and he goes, I'm an archaeologist. I'm a cowboy, I'm a galaxy defender, and I'm also a Raptor trainer. And it cuts, and it's all just Chris Pratt's biggest roles. And I was like, lovely.
It's great.
I'm on board. There was a trailer for a film called The Intruder with Randy Quaid. No, sorry, Dennis Quaid.
Dennis Quaid.
How good would it be if Randy Quaid was in it? Shit is full. Basically, a couple buy a big old like homestead mansion off a guy who's had the house in his family's entire life. He sells it, but then he just won't leave. He starts mowing their lawns and intruding his way back in. Looks a lot like unlawful entry from the 90s. Looks exciting. The other movie...
He's still a ruggedly handsome man.
Yes. And speaking of handsome, Matthew McConaughey is back to his normal size.
All right.
He's back to the Sahara How to Lose a Guy in 10 Day man that I fell in love with all those years ago. Looking good, but there's it kind of looks like Shutter Island type film called Serenity. So
that would have got the nerds pretty excited.
No, well, how'd they get rid of Nathan Fillion? I'm not going to see it. I will, but I won't. The other movie is a science fiction film called Replicas with Keanu Reeves, and I'm pretty excited. I put yes please with a few exclamation marks next to it. What did you think?
It's got Keanu in it, mate. So
and how good is it to know he'll be in Toy Story 4?
Is he really?
I did not know that.
They were saying Keanu
my
Reeves
Lord.
has been in to do some voices for Toy Story 4.
Oh, fantastic.
So I'm wondering whether it'll be John Wick style Keanu or Bill and Ted style Keanu. And
Just
either
shoots all
one
the
would be
toys up.
amazing.
Amazing.
Well, Carl Weathers was in there's like the spin-off, the Toy Story horror things, and he plays a G.I. Joe missing an arm, so he's basically the character from Predator. So I'm hoping it's a John Wick action figure.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Amazing.
There's also a not live action. There's a biopic of Laurel and Hardy called Stan and Ollie, and John C. Reilly in a fat suit.
Yes.
So I'm obligated to see it because I'm both a fan of him and I'm fat. So I'm totally on board for that one. And the final trailer, it's a spin-off of one of my favourite films, even though it shouldn't be. What Men Want. It's the spin-off of What Women Want.
Wow.
Starring Cookie from Empire.
Yes.
And I'm really excited to see it. Watched the Red Band trailer, as did you, Brodie. And it's going to be offensive.
Where did that come from? How old's the original?
Hey, classics don't die, mate. Mad Mel needs movie money without putting his name on the poster anymore.
Yes.
So that's trailer trash for this week. We might go to another song and we will come back with the guest choice from Big Brodie Marshall here on 100.5 WOWFM. This is Dave's Video Graveyard. It is a guest choice special, joined by Shannon from High Fidelity, Thursday nights from 10 p.m. here on WOW. Also, Big Brodie Marshall in, giving us his guest choice special, top 10 favourite movies of all time, starting off with The Matrix. Tell us all about it.
You can almost hear Paul sighing from wherever he is at the moment.
It is our Keanu Reeves special.
Yeah, okay, so a lot of my picks have Keanu in it.
There's some great choices.
For not
The Wickening.
For not any other reason that I actually like the movies that he's in. The Matrix was the only movie I've ever gone to the actual cinemas to see twice.
Wow.
So I saw that the first time and it blew my mind. And
It's so weird meeting people with lives. Like doing this show and then when they say that as like a big tentpole moment for their life, it's like, I've done it this week to movies I didn't like.
Yeah, no, I don't know. To me, that was like almost like a game changer for movies when I saw that, and just the whole, I don't know, the whole story behind it, how we're not living in the real world and that sort of stuff. It was almost sort of semi-feasible. So I just really liked the whole thought process behind it as well.
We quite often talk on the show about game changers.
Mm-hmm.
So there's movies like Jurassic Park, Star Wars, that when they came out, moving forward, everyone else had to step up.
Yep.
And I think The Matrix changed visual effects and science fiction across the board.
Yep.
That in a way that hasn't happened since.
Yeah, I agree. Even like the whole, when the helicopter hits a building and the ripples go through.
Oh, that's what I mean. The special effects are unbelievable.
Yep.
I did revisit the first one recently, which was my favourite of all three.
Yeah, same here.
And it holds up okay.
But not as good. Yeah.
The later ones get worse. It's almost like the Lord of the Rings to the Hobbit.
Yeah.
Some of the CGI in the second and third one, they don't seem to have spent the same amount of time or effort on it.
Well, I was wondering what the deal was with that. Apparently the reason being, with the Hobbit trilogy, they shot the whole thing in some crazy frame rate that only like works in certain like IMAX type cinemas. So it's the closest to the human eye. Mm-hmm. Like what they filmed in was basically human eye, and it's like that doesn't transpose to home. So that is the biggest waste of time. Much like Jurassic Park was the first film filmed in like this special Dolby that required the cinemas buying like these Dolby things. No one bought the system, so no one ever got to enjoy all this money that was spent. Written and directed by the Wachowski brothers at the time, which are now the Wachowski twins.
Yep.
It basically launched Keanu. One thing I found hilarious, because everyone always talk crap about how he's not a very good actor and, you know, how his lines are.
Mate.
Other than you, people that aren't within punch reach of you say these things. But it was so funny watching the trailer even today, just to like refresh my memory. I really liked that it's still his only word in the trailer is,
Whoa.
Yes.
And I'm like,
well, this
doesn't sum up.
This was also, when this came out, it was almost like, hang on, what are they doing getting Keanu Reeves to be an action hero?
Yeah.
Because he just wasn't. He was
Hadn't done
either
it before.
Bill from Bill and Ted, or he was the mopey guy from My
I
Own
am
Private
an
Idaho.
FBI agent.
It was
done Speed, so...
Oh, that's true. He just didn't seem to fit kind of the sci-fi intense. I mean, he didn't seem like a gifted computer hacker to start off with.
Yeah, for sure.
But the role fit him so well.
Oh, I think so too. I just, even at that age, I used to just think he was super cool. So, that was kind of cool.
This was one of the first movies shot mainly in the new studios, the Fox Studios, and that
in Australia.
Sydney.
Yep.
And it's so funny because the amount of like Heartbreak High actors and stuff, they're all
Yes.
extras in the very backgrounds and stuff. And it's funny,
the Damien guy? Yeah.
And it's funny. Dylan Lewis managed to be an extra in this as well as the
Star Wars.
Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
And he still brings it up as if he was like, one of the Agent Smith characters. Have you seen? I believe it's the start of the second one that starts with Trinity and Keanu is. I'm just trying to remember his name in it. They do a raid on Neo. So they do a raid on a bank, and it starts with those pillars getting shot out.
Yep.
And it was all set up as a one take. And if you ever get a chance on YouTube, check it out. Because it's all practical effects. So they had an actual pillar built with all the squib explosions built in.
Mm-hmm.
They did this. I think it's $2 million, one take shot, and Keanu got up and slipped over on the rubble, and so they completely had to redo the entire scene, and it's one of the most expensive scenes in that second movie.
Hang on, if you do get a chance, watch the Bollywood version of that scene as well.
Yeah, right.
Because it's fantastic.
Nice. I forgot to say earlier when we briefly talked about wrestling and our listenership went up, and that's just in the studio here. Have you seen the Max Landis film Wrestling Isn't Wrestling?
It is brilliant. Even if you don't like wrestling, it explains wrestling. It is fantastic.
It conveys my love for wrestling in a way that is cohesive. Like, it's a film. You should really check it out. Max Landis, son of John Landis, John the Helicopter Landis, as I like to call him, to upset Paul.
Yeah, fair enough.
And it is so fantastic, and it was done, and about 2 months later, Drunk History came out. Have you seen the TV show Drunk History? Same format, and he's like, I really missed the boat because he had made it and sat on it for like 2 years or something. Just the student. He just did it independently. Yeah, and he goes, and now Drunk History's gone on to make season after season after season. And he's like, I really missed, because all the actors like pantomime his storytelling, even though he's drunk.
But all the males are played by females, so all the wrestlers are played by females, and it's fantastic. It's really, really done. Really, really well done.
And it's funny because the WWF at the time went from being rated M to PG, and so the way, even though the movie is basically G-rated, right? So the way they show the difference between the two is like really hilarious. The way they sum it up, but I recommend that to anyone. I was thinking it probably makes sense to move on to another Keanu classic.
Why not?
And it is possibly the coolest movie in the history of the world.
Oh, is it Bill and Ted?
No. It is Point Break.
Yes.
The Gary Busey vehicle, Point Break.
Any film where you'd see a red hot chili pepper get smacked in the mouth, it's a good film.
Yep, and get shot in the foot.
Yes, and possibly the greatest example of rock star acting in that scene too.
Yeah,
and this terrible. I'm having a stroke. Everyone's like, "Wow, it is unbelievable how many tropes were born from this movie." You've got the dead president's gang that robbed the banks, so the imagery of the banks, almost like the Heat heist type thing. The chasing the gun with one parachute out of the airplane, which is awesome. But it's also the precursor for the Fast and the Furious franchise, because it's exactly the same story, just with skydiving and extreme sports.
Dudes.
Did you manage to see the remake from 2 years ago?
Oh, no, and I wouldn't.
I would rather people see the film, the Serbian film, than watch that. That is how bad it is. It is upsetting.
My wife absolutely loves this film, so she's just completely banned the remake from our house under any circumstances. Not that we were keen to watch it anyway. Yeah, it was a film, again, it should have been left alone. It didn't need to be redone.
Well, it's one of the few films that I've seen where they do skydiving and they actually take footage of the people skydiving, and it's really, really good. It's not green screen or anything like that. It's it's done really well.
I love when tentpole action films happen because you get The Imitators a couple years later.
Yep.
And so thanks to Point Break, we ended up with Drop Zone with Wesley Snipes and
Which
Terminal
was
Velocity
terrible.
with Charlie Sheen, which is even worse. I like Drop Zone. I don't know.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
But I did also watch and enjoy Tu Wong Fu. Thanks for everything last week. So I just don't know what I'm doing anymore. We might get back into the music and we get back into the films very shortly. This is Dave's Video Graveyard. Don't forget you can send hate mail to Brodie at Dave's Video Graveyard on WOWFM Facebook, or just come down to the studio and tell him to his face, because that's what I'm going to be doing in between these songs. This is DVG. It is 100.5 WOWFM, Dave's Video Graveyard with Shannon from High Fidelity, Big Brodie Marshall, and another silent guest that we're not allowed to say is here. So, moving right along, the next film on the list, we might as well stick in the neighbourhood that is Keanu Reeves and his fantastic It Is the Wickening episode. My usual co-host, Paulie, really doesn't like Keanu Reeves, and so he got quite upset with the McConaughey that was the Rosanna... Some of these are words. He got quite upset when John Wick kind of gave him the rebirth, career rebirth, and I'm like, no... He deserves it.
He deserves it.
Do you have a low point in films of his at all? Any vampire movies where he does a terrible British accent?
That is gross. It's a great movie, but he is gross in it, unfortunately. And it's Bram Stoker's as well, which could have made that better.
There's also the time-travelling letterbox movie.
Oh, that's amazing. Bill and Ted's.
No, not the phone box, the letterbox. What's that one? The Lake House?
Lake House.
With Sandra Bullock.
You can send future letters to Sandra Bullock.
No, I haven't seen that.
I would full-on pee into the letterbox.
Just to see what happens.
Yeah. Sorry.
We all just had a visual image there. That's why it went silent.
We are talking about The Devil's Advocate, Al Pacino and Keanu Reeves. I remember it being rated R and I was a bit too young to get it, but hired it anyway. And tell us about it.
Okay, so this is it's pretty much all about selling yourself to the devil. Al Pacino plays the devil. Keanu is a lawyer who doesn't lose a case ever, and it's about him being successful and sort of selling everything around him to keep that success going. And it works out that Keanu is actually the son of Al Pacino, who's the devil. Spoiler alert. But it's I
was going to watch it tonight.
Oh, it's fantastic, man. It's fantastic. I think it's such a well done movie, and the storyline is really, really good. And Al Pacino, other than Keanu, is probably my favourite actor. So
some pretty dark imagery in the film.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
A dark film.
Yeah, it is. It's really dark. Especially there's a part where a guy gets killed in a park, and then you see demons come across people's faces, and there's a lady showing another person some clothing or something, and you see them under her skin and all this sort of gear.
Right.
It's really, really. I think it's really, really well done.
See, I remember when I first watched this, we used to have movie nights where we'd just each week pick an actor and follow them through and see as many of their films as we could.
That's a great idea.
And we got this and expected it to be sort of a Scent of a Woman type, just standard courtroom drama. And about 20 minutes in, it's like, what the hell is this?
It changes quickly.
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's sort of, as soon as you get into some of the supernatural, and there's so much biblical imagery, and it's just a really deep film.
I think that's what I liked about it as well. It started off, you didn't know where it was going, and then it just takes this turn into a really, really dark place. And it's really, really cool.
And very early, Charlize Theron.
Very early, yeah.
Yeah.
She's beautiful.
Yes. No, don't objectify. She's a great actress.
I mean, her acting is beautiful.
I was just Google imaging her acting, and it's fantastic. I remember hiring this when as I said, I was too young to hire it, but my parents used to just it'll make him go away for a while, so we'll let him hire it. I hired this and The Devil's Own with Brad Pitt and Harrison Ford.
Oh, yeah.
Both super adult concept movies. I went in my room, put the first one on, which was this, which scared me, and so I turned it off. Put The Devil's Own on, which is a really boring Irish Republic Army film, so very bleak. And then I came out of my room 45 minutes later, and Mum and Dad's like, "Did you watch the movie?" "Yeah, I watched both of them." No, I'm like, can I just sit with you guys for a bit? Oh, his name's Kevin Lomax in this, so it's a spin-off of Bernie Lomax from Weekend at Bernie's.
Well, you also know that he
Sweet.
must
It's
be
Bernie's
very bright and very talented because he wears glasses in the courtroom when they want to make him look smart.
Yeah,
Just
exactly.
stick glasses on him. He'll be fine.
I am an attorney lawyer. Now, I haven't checked this one out since it traumatized me, but I definitely should revisit it.
I've seen it a few times, and I'll watch this every now and then. I don't buy a lot of movies, but I bought this and The Matrix, and actually pretty much all of them on here on my list.
Sweet. And what did 2000 say while you were there?
I don't know. I haven't got out of it yet. I'm still there, mate.
As you can tell from our playlist, I'm well beyond that. So, have we hit all the Keanu that's happening? Yes, we have.
Yep.
I guess it
The
is
three we have,
Yeah. I believe it's time for another song. This is Dave's Video Graveyard. It is Dave's Video Graveyard here on WOWFM. Currently 9:02 in the PM. As we head through the guest choice special, the Big Brodie Marshall from Riot City Wrestling, where can people check out your stuff?
So we normally we have our main shows at the Latvian Hall in Wavell, like right near the Wavell Showgrounds.
Yep.
Our next one's on December 8th, which is called Battle for Supremacy. It's our big end of year show, so it's our big major one. So we normally get a very good turnout for that, and that's the one where all our storylines within wrestling sort of come to a crescendo.
Oh, la-di-da.
Yes. So
That should be awesome. And people can jump on the Facebook of
RiotCityWrestling.com. There's the RiotCityWrestling.com website, but Facebook has probably actually got more information about especially with what's going on and all that sort of stuff. So, that'll be the best way to search it.
And the one thing that's really cool, similar to the local music scene, is there's so much stuff up on YouTube and that people can kind of get a good idea. But you'd never get the sense of the atmosphere of a live show. Like, my kids still, to this day, are so excited every time we go to any local shows because it's larger than life. Like, it's super
is,
fun.
and it's
finished by like 10:30.
and it is, and it's a 3-hour show, so it's.
And you can get drunk cheap, but drink responsibly.
Alcohol is cheap, and but we like it like that because we want people to keep coming back. And you'd be surprised how many times that people come to a show and once they've seen it live for the first time, they don't expect it to be as good as it is, if that makes any sense. So, or the I'm going to blow my own bags here, like as good as the talent is.
Just don't get it on the table.
Okay, no worries. I will try not to.
Well, I found from the time I went and we watched a couple of them, I genuinely wanted to go back to see what happens next.
Yeah, that's
There
great.
were certain fights where you just go, oh, is he going to get him back? And then you sort of think, I'd go back and see what's going to happen in the next fight.
Yeah, it's like Home and Away with violence.
Yes.
That's pretty much what it is. So there's drama and there's story and there's theatrics behind it. So,
But Shane doesn't die and Angel cry. And that's how long it's been since
that is
Home and Away.
mate. I love it.
And throw your arms around you, please.
Oh god.
They had a lovely day at the beach first, though, so it wasn't that sad.
It wasn't a total waste.
Spoiler alert for anyone that's still up to
1995.
anyone's up to the Melissa George Dita Brummer storyline. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry I ruined it. Speaking of ruining, no, I'm joking. This film has been on every guest choice special in the history of mankind.
Has it really?
It really probably would be the most universal film that we've discovered with all our local guests. It is from 1990, directed by Martin Scorsese. It is Goodfellas.
Yep.
Why did you pick this low-quality film that no one likes?
no one's heard of, or
Did you copy and paste someone else's answers?
yeah. Someone who likes Keanu.
Just change it up. Just change it up.
Yeah. This one didn't have Keanu in it, so I went for something different. No, I just look. I've got an Italian background, so I like the Italian.
What's your front?
That's bravado.
Insecurity.
Yeah, insecurity and anxiety. No, I think this is a fairly definitive movie for the whole Italian mafia scene, and it's based on a true story too. So, and it gives a really good insight into what another one I was thinking of as well is Donnie Brasco.
That's a great film.
Yeah.
I think of it every time. I'm a painter and decorator by trade.
Yep.
Every time I have to take my boots off going into somewhere, I think
the
about
sushi
stomping the homeowner. but that's not how painting companies work, according to the police. Anyway, yeah, that's a great choice. That would have been good as well.
Yeah. So similar sort of theme. So I just like the whole undercover cop going into the underworld. Yeah. So which is really, really cool. So,
do you like The Departed?
I did. I probably didn't. I still think it's great, but I don't know why. I think the whole Italian thing has a major resonance with me. So
yeah. Oh, it's a racism problem.
It's a racism thing.
Yeah,
exactly. No, but I don't know. I connect with that on a personal level.
Yeah.
Because my family are all mafioso. No, that's not.
You're a made guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Just because you wear the Good Charlotte clothing brand called Made
doesn't work.
Doesn't count.
Yeah.
There's a lot of and this is another example of a film that created a lot of imposters.
Mm-hmm.
Which this whole story continued very late into the 90s, early 2000s. There was a film called Juices Wild with Stephen Dorff from Blade before his hair receded all the way back. And it's pretty much like Goodfellas light.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so many of those films made. Even the start of a much happier film, Sleepers, felt exactly like this to me. But yeah, The Departed was almost felt like a kind of retelling of Goodfellas.
Yeah, for sure.
And Casino, you also mentioned while we're off air. That was also an honourable mention on your list.
Yes, it was. Yep. So once again, it's probably more the Italian mafia thing, but I know that was Casino based, but there was still that behind it. But I also think people like Ray Liotta, who I think is a severely underrated actor, and just things that you read up about. There's the scene where Joe Pesci pretty much kills a guy, then they chuck him in a trunk and he's not dead.
Yep.
You read the real story and it was actually more violent than that.
Yeah, no,
and you're like, holy God.
That is one thing that everyone that knew, because Martin Scorsese didn't just talk the talk. He had most of the people from the actual story on set as consultants, which a lot of the actors said were terrifying. But everyone agreed that Tommy was portrayed accurately, if not brutal enough.
Yeah, toned down a bit.
Yeah, no, they said this is an embodiment. Joe Pesci won the Oscar for this film.
I mean,
which
he deserves it. He acts the hell out of this.
Honestly,
if he outacts De Niro, and he's just phenomenal. That's the funny guy scene.
Yeah,
is just.
How freaky is that scene?
It just switches from menace to humour to menace.
Yeah. And you don't know where it's going either.
We've quite often talked Scorsese. This is the sign of a master director. The way he builds that sense of dread and unease and you're just so uncomfortable.
Yeah. Yep.
But also the story was he let Pesci write it.
Yeah,
so
right.
Joe Pesci was passing on a story on set about these guys he heard having this conversation.
Yeah, right.
And Scorsese said, that sounds amazing. Go and write it, bring it back and we'll do it. And that's how it ended up in the film. And a lot of this film was improvised. Like the scene with his mum, Tommy's mum, which is actually Scorsese's real life.
Scorsese's mum,
That conversation with the paw and the hoof and everything was just improvised as well.
Which is gold.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
There's the other scene, like in Goodfellas, the scene with Tommy, the funny guy scene, always makes me on edge. The other one that is so uncomfortable is when Robert De Niro is leading Liotta's wife basically away to get hit.
Yep.
He's not going to do it, but he's setting her up, and she knows it. But you don't know if it's paranoia or if it is a setup.
Yep.
And the whole helicopter scene and everything, it just... You feel like you're there.
Yes.
Like you feel like you're riding shotgun.
But then also they always flip it around for the scene where Tommy gets made.
Yeah.
And you don't really even expect it. It's just bang and it's done.
The first time anyone watches Goodfellas, you find out what's happening to Tommy at the same time Tommy does. Like there is no...
The trouble is, when I watch the film, the thing that scene's phenomenal, and the thing that pulls me out of it every time is De Niro pushes over a telephone box. He can't push over a telephone box, but that's his reaction. He hangs up the phone, and shoves, and the whole thing falls over.
Yep.
That's not happening.
I saw...
Maybe if you pushed it, Brodie. One of us, if we pushed a telephone booth, it's not moving anywhere.
If we pushed a telephone booth, we've time travelled. That's true. I really enjoy... Everything Wrong With. It's a YouTube channel that does like the montage of everything wrong.
Yes.
And afterwards they do a few different dubs, and there's that scene with De Niro, but with I'm in a glass case of emotion from Anchorman with Will Ferrell. And it syncs up perfectly.
Well, the other great game to play watching Goodfellas is spot the Sopranos cast member.
Yes.
Because they're everywhere.
Yeah,
it's
they are.
amazing.
Even
side characters that are in the Sopranos for one or two scenes are in this film.
As we spoke off air, it's also the spot the analyze this, analyze that cast member.
Yeah, which is great too.
Not many people moved on from being mafiosos in movies, really.
Yeah, well, there's the other story too that De Niro put a horse's head in Ray Liotta's bed at the start of filming to say, "Welcome to mafia movies. You're in the family."
Really?
That's pretty cool if you've got that story to tell.
Indeed.
And I spoke a little bit off air. There is actually, from the same book that became Goodfellas, the second part of the book is actually about what happened to the guy that went into protection, Ray Liotta's character.
Yeah.
Basically about his
last
suburban
name
life.
Hill? I can't remember.
I think it's Ray. Is it Ray Hill or something?
Something like that, yeah.
He ended up actually, the real life story.
Henry Hill.
Henry Hill.
There we go.
He ended up getting kicked out of witness protection because he used to ring up the Howard Stern show all the time
Oh, my Lord.
and like tell all these stories and
Oh, my Lord.
this isn't anonymous. But yeah, came out in 1990, so the year before. It was a comedian, a comedy with Rick Moranis and Steve Martin.
Steve Martin.
It's actually delightful, and when you watch it and you realise the way it's kind of the end of Goodfellas is the start of this film.
Yeah, right.
But it came out a year earlier, and it's...
I need to watch this.
Yeah, it's not as good.
I'll take from
No.
It doesn't look as dark as Goodfellas.
Steve Martin get made, and then he gets shot in the head. No, but definitely a lesser known of the thing. Speaking of lesser known mafia films, we should talk about the next choice.
Yeah.
Is it The Good Father 1 and 2?
Yeah, that's it. The Godfather.
Why did you pick The Godfather?
Similar reasons to my previous choice. This is iconic, and this was probably the first. Well, I think it was the first proper mafia film that came out, and wasn't going to be made originally. So
12 directors were picked and got rid of because the producers the book wasn't even much like Jurassic Park. The book was bought by the studio before it was even finished. So they helped shape the writing of it, and the book basically became 1 and 2. So you got your origins.
I know with the script there, I think in the movie there's no mention of the word mafia at all because they had mafia people there saying don't mention the word mafia. So this was heavily influenced by the legit mafia. But I just think it's a fantastic story, and once again, one that I get around. So
James Caan of Elf fame.
Yes. This film's always a bit weird for me because the same thing when we were watching movies, we went through a De Niro stage and we got this one, and it was...
Please tell me you watched this the same night as you watched Dirty Grandpa.
No, much older. The grey in my beard might not give it away, but I'm quite old. So we would have to rent videos, and this is when there was
still... to watch it projected on a cave wall.
Absolutely. It was still pretty limited in what you could get, and it was one of those films where I always thought, if we ever see...
Sorry,
The
Shannon,
Godfather.
can I update that joke to be you watched it at the drive-in theatre from the Flintstones opening?
Oh, there you go.
Thank you.
So if I could order those ribs, I would do. And we finally found it after searching for ages, but it was this weird version that they released in America to kind of, I think it was to pay for being able to finish off Apocalypse Now. And it was chronologically cut. It was The Godfather 1 and 2 in chronological order. And that was the first time I'd ever seen The Godfather. And we watched it, I think twice in about a year. So that's
how long it goes.
Yeah, that's how I thought The Godfather was. So it wasn't for another probably 10 years.
So you didn't realise it was prequel style.
10 years later, I was watching The Godfather going,
oh, that's crazy.
Hang on, where's De Niro? It starts with De Niro. And it's, so there's this cut that was made to pay for the rest of Apocalypse Now. That's chronological order. Francis Ford Coppola asked for it to be made. And I
didn't even know that existed.
It's how I remember it.
Yeah,
and
wow.
so whenever I watch the proper versions, it's still a little bit strange for me to think, hang on, this is how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Have you seen, it is really terrible, have either of you guys seen, from the 90s, there was Mafia the movie, and it was a Naked Gun style, send-up of Casino, The Godfather and everything. Beau Bridges was in it because it was from the writers, creators of Hot Shots.
Okay.
So it was a lot of the same characters.
Amazing.
But just some of the gags are hilarious, when when, like, obviously, spoiler alert, when Don Corleone has his fatal heart attack at the end in the garden.
In the garden.
But before that, he puts the slice of orange in his mouth. He does a slice of orange and a slice of watermelon in the movie, and it's done. But my favorite scene is, it is such a bad movie, but smallest little terrible jokes sell me on a movie. There is a bit where, much like in Casino, when De Niro and when Sharon Stone's leaving him and she's throwing everything, and while she's throwing everything, she's got the dog under her arm. In the movie, she throws the dog as well, and it smashes on the wall as well.
See, my favourite joke that's a Godfather's one, still from The Simpsons, where they always refer to something dodgy in Troy McClure's past. And then they've got Fat Tony is going, I thought you said he was dead. And he goes, no, I said he sleeps with fishes. And then later on they cut to his bedroom and he's got this big aquarium behind him and it's all really creepy.
I still remember vividly the first time I watched this, seeing what happened to Tommy, like at the crossing, at the toll booth.
Yeah, at the toll.
Did not see it coming. Much like the made man scene in Goodfellas. And I'm like, oh, no.
But that's like, I think that's what is awesome about movies like this. You remember the first time watching them. So I like The Matrix for me, Point Break, almost all of these films that I can remember the first time watching it. And this was iconic for me just for the, once again, it's one of those movies that I went, holy shit, not that my family is into any of this sort of stuff, but just even like scenes where they're just doing like the wedding at the start. I've been to an Italian wedding like that.
I was going to say, is it because you did you see this film because you're Italian and there's that law that if you're Italian you need either you need a Scarface or a Godfather poster in your home? It's like enjoying Kiss. It's like, do you enjoy Kiss? And if you say no, it's like, do you have a Godfather poster? You say yes. It's like, all right, there's your birth certificate.
There you go.
That was racist, Shannon.
That's why I was silent. I was standing back being offended.
Ladies and gentlemen, I was reading cue cards for the first time, being held up by Shannon from High Fidelity, and you can send any concerns to High Fidelity WOWFM on Facebook.
I'd love any contact on Facebook, so even complaints, it'll make me feel like someone's listening.
You're like the episode of South Park where the kid has one friend and just sits and refreshes.
I would love one. God. That'd be amazing.
Brilliant.
All right, we'll get back into the music. This is Dave's Video Graveyard. It is Dave's Video Graveyard. I like the silence that they've put at the end of that song. It's good. It's a nice little sample of silence.
You can't skip it. Artistically, it's meant to be there.
Exactly, that's it. The next choice from the year 2001, my formative years of still actually listening to music, and I haven't moved on from there. You've picked the 2-hour, 5-minute drama from 2001, Life as a House, starring everyone's least favourite Anakin Skywalker and Kevin Kline. It is Life as a House. Tell us why you picked this movie that also everyone picks.
Everyone is in no one?
Yeah.
This was, I think, probably one of the first movies that ever got to me emotionally in regards to I actually felt something watching it.
You didn't watch Neverending Story as a kid?
I did, and when I don't know...
You just don't like white horses?
No, white horses.
That's why you pick Godfather, because you hate horses.
I'm like, yes, a horse died. You're guilty.
You love Blazing Saddles.
I was going to bring on Far Lap as well, just for the ending.
Sweet. You're a big fan of Glue.
Yeah. No, it's just. I think this is a really well told story. It's probably. I don't know if many people would have ever seen this. It's ranked all right on IMDb or whatever that thing is, so that's okay. But. It's to do with cancer. It's about a guy repairing relationships in his life whilst building a house. It's there you go.
No, I'm just checking. The guy hasn't. Oh, he directed The Net with.
No, we just saw the link that Irwin Winkler, the director, also directed They Shoot Horses, Don't They? So there is a thing.
There is a strong thing.
You're into it.
There you go. So, yeah, no, it's just, it was like a really, I thought, really well done movie, really emotional, and one that actually affected me. So, yeah. And Kevin Kline is great.
Shannon, can you give Brodie a hug? Because I just feel like it needs to happen.
There you go. Oh, I think I broke a rib, Dave.
Well, it was good for OH&S purposes. You took your pants off first.
Well, they were already off. You just can't see from that side of the desk.
It's the pleats. This one, like I watched a couple of reviews as well as the trailer, and it looked like a cry-bait movie. And I don't like movies where I know I'm going to cry.
But it's. I went into watching this without seeing anything. It was actually, which was I think was good for me, because I probably, to be honest with you, if I had seen a trailer, I probably wouldn't watch it.
I think, if you read that summary, when a man is diagnosed with terminal cancer, he takes custody of his misanthropic teenage son.
Yep.
Yeah, well, we're in for some laughs now.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not a big selling point. That
feel good.
It keeps the cancer a secret for a while and all this sort of stuff.
And then
as
that
well,
song from Matilda starts like, on my way. This seems like fun.
Crikey. So, it's just, it's probably a little bit random, but I really liked it. So,
I'm just regretting I didn't prepare any 30-odd foot of grunt music to play this evening.
You know what? I've never heard a song from 30-odd foot. I could have seen
the
them
luckiest
live.
person with ears, I think.
I saw him play with Jimmy Barnes at the White Horse. Is the White Horse Inn? Somewhere down way north. As I click my fingers, I'm sure that's good for radio. And he was... Russell Crowe came out as like a surprise guest at the end of a Barnsley and sang with him. They sang Good Times, and Russell Crowe didn't know the words.
Now, you said you got a photo with him.
I did. So have we got time for this story?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, he came down here to shoot a movie called The Water Diviner, and he had his wrap-up of his wrap-up party in McLaren Vale.
And you were down there killing horses.
Yeah, as my pastime is.
Yeah.
And I just happened... No, I got a family that owned a restaurant, and Russell he went to the restaurant, liked the food, and wanted them to cater the event. They didn't have enough waiters, so they asked if I'd go. And I went there, and I was just pulling glasses. So he sat on a table by himself, away from everyone else. It was him and one other person. Then he got ridiculously drunk and then decided to mingle. He drank...
Let me play a song with Tugger.
With Tugger. Fighting around the world.
Yeah.
He drank a lot of Grey Goose. So,
Nice.
And then, he actually pulled me over and we just started talking, and then I got a photo with him. He didn't get a photo with anyone else that night.
Oh, nice.
So he wouldn't let people take photos, and he said, we were just talking shit, and
Did you talk about virtuosity?
No, we didn't.
Well,
I was going to.
You've wasted
I wanted
your
to ask him,
entire life.
how was Denzel? Like, that's what I was...
That's it. Do you guys get together and watch that masterpiece, or what?
If you haven't watched Virtuosity, you need to watch Virtuosity. You know, there's parts in that thing, there's a scene where they have all flags, and Russell deliberately made the Australian flag be the most prominent in the background. It's great.
He had his estate sale because when he had his divorce recently, decided to sell all his estate to pay half.
Yeah.
They sold the Virtuosity suit.
Oh,
and
really?
I was like, if there was ever a bit of memorabilia I wanted,
it was that
suit.
Amazing. So yeah, met him, got a photo.
We need that photo as proof that you're not
pull
him.
it up. It's on my Facebook page. Not that anyone's other than you guys would be on it, because
we can hold the picture up to the microphone.
Yeah.
See that, guys?
I'll find it and I'll shoot it through to you.
Here's a photo of the time me and Leonardo DiCaprio hung out. And here's the time I was the personal trainer of Philip Seymour Hoffman.
See, Dave.
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah.
Before. It's not recent.
Not today.
See, Dave,
missed today's session.
I always think it's classy not to name drop. Robert De Niro told me that, so I've never done it.
No. I think I was there then.
Yeah, well, maybe.
Yeah, but apparently, when I say apparently he was a bit of a spoon to everyone, but he was nice to me.
Did he get your attention? Was it weird after he took the selfie through your phone?
So, yeah.
Had a waitress?
Had a waitress, yeah. His minder actually called me to come over. Like, he was sitting there and he told me that he wanted me to be in a movie with him. Dead set. Like, he was off his face. Dead set.
I'm going to remake My Giant.
And I said, oh yeah, I'll come as a stuntman or something. He goes, no, you'll come in and you'll be a part of it. I'm like, okay. And then that was the end of that.
He made a movie with RZA from Wu-Tang Clan called The Man with the Golden Fists, and there's a sequel with Batista in it. Damn, that is straight up a low point. Then he comes back like the following year and he does like some Oscar bait films, and then he goes back and makes a hip hop kung fu movie.
Wow. What was the movie it was with? Oh my god, Ryan Gosling. That was
The Good Guys. Is a great movie.
That was
written
great.
by Shane Black that did Predator and Lethal Weapon.
Oh really? That was such a good film.
I wish that was a return to form for everyone involved.
Yeah,
It didn't seem to be. And are you going to let yourself go to continue looking like him? Because in the last 5 years, he's replaced his face. Like, it's no longer skin and bone. It's just blue tack.
Well, it looks as though his face is in widescreen.
He just looks like he's made out of paper mache now. No. Russell Crowe now looks like when Drop Dead Fred gets his head stuck in the fridge. That's exactly what that's what he looks like.
I think it's a testament to how
Come and fight, Brodie. Come on, Russ.
An example of how good an actor he is I find him just grating as a person. He's in that Tom Cruise type thing. I just think he's grating, but I can watch a Russell Crowe film and forget that because he can actually act, and that's something Russell Crowe Jr. Sam Worthington can't do.
No, that was actually where that was leading me. When he wants to be there, his accent doesn't come through.
Yeah.
When he does not want to be there, he doesn't try. So you'll have like something where it's like A Beautiful Mind or something where you don't hear accent at all, and then it's like, I'm Superman's dad. go, because Krypton's like falling apart, mate. You gotta go.
You gotta go.
Go, Rabbitohs! As the planet blows up.
Which is
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
Now everyone knows how Superman starts.
Next you'll tell us who Clark Kent is.
No.
How did we get on to Russell? We were talking about Life as a House.
Well,
it's the next movie?
Because Russell plays the house.
Oh, yeah.
In the remake.
Yeah, of course he does.
Was there any... How do you feel hearing that he wants you to be in a movie with him, even if he was drunk at the time?
I took it for what it was, him being a drunk person. So when I say drunk, they had to carry him out. So he was drunk.
Nice.
So, but he apparently we were there. We had to sit up with his personal assistant, whose name was Sue, and she was lovely. And
name drop. We know Sue.
We set up. He paid for the whole thing himself, like out of his own pocket.
Yeah, right.
It was like, and it would have been.
Was it a bright blue suit? Because
no, but he had like sideshows. Like, so he got hired, like, squirt the water in the cow's mouth.
Yeah, right.
He had like caravans and caravans of sideshows around the perimeter of the dinner.
If he just managed to get everyone in that room to watch the movie, it would have done better than it did.
No joke. So.
I don't think even the people of Burra, because it was shot all in and around Burra, or the farmyard scene.
Yep.
Is that the one? I could be mistaken, because I haven't seen it. He goes to Gallipoli to find his son that was killed in the war, I believe.
I think so. And then he bloody must find water. I don't know.
Then he just pours half a glass of water out, and that's where the name comes from.
Then you're like, done. There's the name.
Divided by 2. Where's my son?
Where's my son?
Give me back my son.
And my water.
I'm Superman's dad.
So he was, I don't know, he was a bit of a douche to a few people, but it was
allegedly.
Nice allegedly, but nice enough to me.
That's it. That's all that matters.
Yeah. Well, to me, yeah.
Now we're past the name-dropping section of the show. Let's... segue, you ready, guys?
You ready?
Speaking of Russell Crowe, your next choice.
Yeah.
How was that, Shannon?
Well done. I didn't see it coming.
Thanks, mate. It is a little-known film from a guy that made a little-known movie about aliens. Tell us what it is.
It is Gladiator. So I like this for many reasons. Once again, the Italian theme, bringing it back.
So racist.
Yeah. I think it's just a good story about a bloke who was at the top of his game, did all he could, and still gets screwed over. So, and just comes from being a leader of an army to an underdog who I think every good guy needs a really good bad guy, and young Jacqueline Phoenix does an amazing job as the Emperor. And as a total heel, as
Speaking of Phoenixes,
wrestling terms.
His brother is in this.
His brother might be there in spirit. I don't know, but yeah.
Spirits.
Oh, God.
Taking shots at dead people. It is Dave's video graveyard.
Yeah, so, and I obviously I look somewhat like him, and I base my wrestling character off that pretty much, so that helps too.
Russell Crowe hasn't looked this good since then.
No,
he's very cool in this film.
He seriously hasn't. Yeah, he's actually cool in this film. This would be the peak of his fame, no?
Yeah, LA Confidential got everyone looking at him.
Yeah.
But then this was his big outing, I think, other than Virtuosity, sorry.
Yeah, of course. How could I forget? So, but yeah, no, I like the whole style of the way that this is shot. It's and it
8.5, so it's 0.2 lower publicly rated than Goodfellas.
There you go.
That's saying a lot.
Yeah.
Ridley Scott hasn't done anything else.
No, nothing at all.
Have you seen? I cannot say River Phoenix's brother's name. That's an ongoing joke because I thought it was Joaquin, but apparently
I thought we were narrowing it down to the names you can say because that's probably a smaller list, Dave.
There's Russell.
So Jay O'Quinn. Phoenix, have you seen his trailer as the Joker?
I've only seen a picture of him as the Joker.
There was a new one released, and I've got to say, the mannerisms are too close to Heath Ledger's overall body movements.
Yeah, right.
That was my main issue, and he looks more like John Wayne Gacy than the Joker. But
which is not bad as like I kind of like the dumbed down version of it in regards to the basic principle behind the makeup. I kind of dig that.
Quick shout out. I'm just catching up. Jamie sent through. Said it was actually called The Man with the Iron Fists. So there you go. Yeah, check it out. That's the Wu-Tang Clan.
There you go.
Martial arts movie.
Beautiful.
I think no matter how he is as the Joker, that Jared Leto's sitting back going, "Oh, it's my role. I nailed it."
Oh God, I didn't hate it. I didn't hate his version of, but
it was almost no version.
Minutes
it was hardly in it. Weren't they going to do a?
He was going to do a standalone him versus Batfleck, but that never come to fruition. Jamie also said that I would really enjoy. Since I liked Mafia the movie, I would enjoy a movie called Gladiatrix. Gladiatrix? I cannot say that word.
What, of the same vein?
Yeah, apparently. It's
okay, brilliant.
So check that one out.
I will. I certainly will.
I didn't like the attempt of a happy ending in the end of this film, because obviously it's a tragedy, but then the supernatural-esque heavenly field thing.
Yeah.
Unnecessary. This film was everywhere and everything the year it came out.
It was enormous.
Every show had a spoof or something to do with it.
Yeah.
But it brought back Gladiator and historical stuff. There wasn't.
I reckon 300 has a lot to... Getting made had a lot to do with this film.
I think a lot of even Vikings and stuff now, all that stuff is popular. I think this sort of kicked it off in regards to it becoming... Well, Braveheart maybe as well, but... it
had been decades since there was sword and sandal type stuff, and then there was the TV show Rome, and there was
Spartacus,
all that sort of stuff, which sort of got it really, really good. So, I just what is it? Won 5 Oscars. There you go.
5 Oscars.
Yeah. How long does it go for? It's like 2.5 hours or something.
Oh, I reckon it was 2 hours 40 minutes from memory. 2 hours 35. Yeah.
There you go. So. I don't know. I also base a movie on if a movie can go for that long and then I don't get bored during that time, I like it. So
I saw this at the cinemas, and then when it was on Foxtel/Austar back in the day, it was one of those movies where Sunday morning you'd go to sleep with a hangover watching it.
Yeah.
Then you'd wake up mid-afternoon and it was like at a different point. So you got to watch it over a week, but just not all in one sitting.
For sure.
Great choice.
Thanks, mate.
Perhaps we will go to No, we won't. Okay. We'll go down the Oliver Stone route and we will talk about The Doors, starring Val Kilmer.
Yeah.
Why did you pick this movie?
I think Val Kilmer's ridiculously amazing. So
this is his second best.
After Top Secret.
After Top Secret, his second best performance as a musician.
I like as a musician.
Top Secret's amazing.
He would have said Batman if it was.
I liked him in Heat a lot.
Yes.
So I actually during my high school years really got into The Doors. I grew my hair long when I was young because of Jim Morrison.
I had Friends, so I wasn't really into the Doors.
I was into art, mate. So
say no more. Were you the Lizard King?
No, I wasn't. So, but no, I just really like this as somewhat of a biopic. So I thought it was once again really, really well done. I didn't know anything about Jim Morrison he's actually almost famous because of a fluke. He looked the goods. But some of the stuff he did, he would have been a raging wanker.
I love all the docos, like, just different elements of his life. Like, his family had no idea he was a rock star.
Yeah.
Like, he was in the full height of his fame before his own family knew, like, what he was and who he did. Other way around. But I also love that all the other members of the Doors said that every day we had, like, different people from different sects and stuff coming up and handing us drugs. Mm-hmm. Said we'd all say thank you, pocket it, and then, chuck it out.
Except
Jim just fist over fist down his throat, anything that was handed to him.
And I think this does a good job of showing how chaotic his life was and how crazy that whole drug scene was back then and how almost accepted it was. And even the stuff
he
where
really
he's
was. He really was the antithesis. He was the main, like, gypsy, just floated, like, you know what I mean? Like, he basically had someone holding each one of his elbows through life, like, once they got to the fame train, because it was just absolutely insane.
But see, the band were pretty vocal in not being happy about how Jim was portrayed. Yep. And they were saying it just shows him as drug-taking drinker and not much else. And so I know Ray Manzarek was very critical of the film, saying you really didn't capture who Jim was. You've just got almost the cliched version of him rather than the man himself.
Yeah, for sure. And that's,
I absolutely hate that organ piano sound. That's why I never got into the Doors, because it just reminds me of, like, what it would feel like to overdose. Like, it's just that it's that
60s.
It's that Tom Waits piano where it's just a cat on a piano, but it's warped. I cannot handle that sound.
Yeah, no, I know what you're saying. I don't know.
And I'm saying that with a rock and roll DJ in the room. Eat it, the Doors fans.
There you go. No, I think it's really well done. Like I said, Val Kilmer's amazing. Meg Ryan in it is actually really good as, what was her name, Pam?
Yeah. My favourite portrayal of Jim Morrison was actually in Wayne's World 2. He's the oracle, the ghost of Jim Morrison tells him what to do.
Yes. I even find it that they dig down so far to talk about his impotence as well. So that's...
Oliver Stone, like, his 90s career of films was
amazing.
Insane. Like, as rock and roll as what he portrayed, you cop, like, Natural Born Killers, which is an unmissable film, which a lot of people have missed.
Yes, well, one of the things with this film, the lead singer of The Cult was actually first offered the role.
Oh, really?
And there was people like Bono and Michael Hutchence putting their hand up saying, if you're making a film about Jim Morrison. I'll be in it.
I feel like Billy Idol was just outside of the thing, like, can I come in?
Well, I think Michael Hutchence a no-brainer because he just spent the whole time trying to be Jim Morrison.
Pretty
anyway.
much. Pretty much.
I think it might have been Van Zandt. One of the guys said that oh my God, I've just had a mental blank. Lead singer of NXS, Michael Hutchence.
Don't help him out.
Was like today's version of the Lizard King. Like he was like one of the few.
It seemed calculated.
At one point, he was like, "Oh, there's a thing.
Look at that guy. I'll copy him." But yeah, the guy from The Cult turned it down because he said reading the script he didn't think it was true to Jim either. And how ballsy is that? As a not a massive musician, but a reasonable tiered musician saying to Oliver Stone, thanks, but I don't like the script. I don't think I'll be in your film. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Just looking at some of the trivia, I honestly grew up thinking that it was Val Kilmer lip syncing, but apparently he learned to sing.
He knew how to sing from Straight in the Rug and all the other classics from Top Secret. And I still can't get past watching the film now and seeing Johnny Drama in the band.
Yes.
Which is amazing.
Recently revisited the Poseidon with Kurt Russell.
Oh, yes.
Johnny Drama's like a douche in that as well. No one has chosen this film.
Really?
I think everyone else had friends in school.
Yeah, I know. I didn't, and I was totally okay with it. No, I think it reminds me of my youth too, just being into the band so much.
Is that because your youth was in the 60s and 70s?
50s and 40s.
Sorry. After the war, music got great.
Got good. So, no, it's a nostalgic pop for me.
Awesome.
As well.
All right, I've closed that folder. I'll open it back up. We'll go back to the music and we'll be back right here on Dave's Video Graveyard. It is Dave's Video Graveyard on WOWFM. A time-travelling language warning for that one. Big Brodie Marshall is in with his guest choice special, taking us through his 10 favourite movies of all time. Just a quick recap. So far, we've had The Matrix, Godfather 1 and 2, Point Break, Devil's Advocate, Life is a House, Goodfellas, Gladiator, which I've never heard of, and The Doors, which is about building.
Yeah, building doors.
Yeah, great joke.
Life is a House and The Doors.
It's Better Homes and Gardens, but the UK version. And the other one's like Grand Design. Life as a House is the Grand Design. Man, I'm so old. I love those shows. It's bad when new seasons of Grand Design get put up on Netflix and you've already seen them all. Okay, so the next film we are covering, it is the second of the what some people call the greatest trilogy of all time, but those people are wrong and haven't seen Star Wars. And we are talking about the Two Towers from Lord of the Rings trilogy before they stopped trying and CGIing everything. Why did you pick this film?
I've never been a Tolkien fan. I hadn't read the books or anything like that. I'd heard about it, and many mates had. And then I saw the first Lord of the Rings, and I thought it was amazing. I chose the second one because
where's all the Italians?
I'm sure there's one somewhere in there. One of the dwarves or orcs was Italian, or associated with the mafia, one or the other. And I was okay with it. I think the second movie has just more action in it, and I just like watching things get killed, to be honest with you. I think this was probably a game changer movie wise too, just with the scale of some of the war scenes and stuff like that.
This blows my mind. Almost like if you look back in film history, you look at the likes of Apocalypse Now and the grandiose scale of what they were doing.
Yeah,
it pales in comparison to the fact that everyone on the battle scenes, like every extra on the battle scenes, had a full length suit of chainmail under their armor.
Yeah.
Which would never be seen on camera. That is amazing.
Yep.
That someone could let that kind of wastage happen in the name of making these films. But it was an excuse to print money. It was insane.
It was ridiculous, and just I don't know.
Because remember, they released each one of them at Christmas.
Yes,
and this is. I remember after the first Harry Potter film finished, when I saw that, someone's like, "It's going to be a year till the next one." I'm like, "Not for me. It's not. This sucks." Lord of the Rings was like, it's 365 because Boxing Day I saw the first one. That was the release day.
Can we go back one step? Did you say Harry Potter sucked?
Yep.
Good. Oh, you're my best friend.
I'm just into quality. That's just my thing. Okay,
Frodo had his moments, but I've never met a character that I wanted to punch fair in the square in the face.
Yeah,
because he did nothing, all his mates did, and he got the glory. It was just like, oh god, this is. Anyway, we're talking about a different movie, but
my son wanted to go to Harry Potter to 1 year's book week, so I basically enacted the book burning scene from The Last Crusade, and he didn't go to school that week. He was grounded
for forever.
Not really. It's just it sucks.
Yeah, agreed. But yeah, back to old mate Lord of the Rings.
I think one of the things that helped with the scale of this and the difference between this and The Hobbit is they had so many practical effects still.
Yes.
That you did have the first 50 people in the battle scenes, real people actually fighting, and it was only the distance
Peter
stuff
Jackson
that was
did
CGI.
keto, guys, by the way.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
He lost a heap of weight.
Yeah. That's what it's about, but it's also about not being happy. 3-hour film. I'm pretty sure, wasn't one of the Blu-ray releases, it was like 5 hours?
Yeah, there was.
Three of them were 5 hours.
Had the extras in there and
And the
whatnot.
Blu-rays, the audio commentaries on all of them are actually...
I haven't listened to that.
They're hilarious, actually.
Yeah,
There's
right.
a couple of them. The guy from Drive Shaft on Lost and the other little side hobbit are just funny as the entire way through.
Amazing.
And the other thing that would probably surprise you is that Orlando Bloom comes across as a bit of a pretentious dick.
Oh, no.
That's a massive surprise.
Absolutely.
I remember seeing an article online, and it was like an interview he did with like a small-time English newspaper before it was released.
Yep.
And it was almost like my movie that I,
Yeah, 'cause
that kind of thing. It's like
he had basically just finished acting school and got a phone call to say, do you want to be in this film? And he went, yeah, sounds good. And then stepped
my
into
Lord.
that trilogy, which made him
Lucked out
absolutely.
completely.
And I think he just assumes it's that easy.
God. And, I mean, you take what you can get, but didn't Peter Jackson do, like, a movie before? Like, he started off, it was like a puppet porn film?
Meet the Feebles.
Yeah, Meet the Feebles. That's it.
His early career is unbelievable. Like, if you go back and watch, he made Bad Taste. What's the fantastic zombie one? Dead Alive. And also Meet the Feebles. If you went back and watched those films and went, one day this guy's going to be one of the most important filmmakers.
You can't see how they would have gone, here's some money for you, make a big film, because it
Apparently he
would have seemed
shot
like
the
such a
story
risk.
around to a few movies, like, and they didn't want
They
to
wanted
take...
one movie. They
Yeah,
wanted the
right.
Fellowship of the Rings to be the full, like, Lord of the Rings
There you
story.
go. Yeah.
And he's like, nope.
Which
I
is
have a
great.
vision, which he stuck with, and
He made a lot of money.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And they're so well done. Once again, like I said before, if you can watch, what was it, 3 hours, and it doesn't feel like 3 hours, then you're doing something right. And
The last one did start feeling pretty long when it went to
Yeah.
about the fourth fake ending.
Yeah, for sure.
Guys, speaking, we spoke about Drazik off air. There is actually a scene where I'll send it to you guys and I'll put it up on the Facebook for our listener. There is a scene, like, you know, the final bit where Gandalf comes in and, like, Frodo's in bed and he starts laughing.
Oh, God.
Someone has slowed down the audio and turned their eyes outwards. And it's just one of the greatest scenes you will ever see. And you cannot see it the normal way after seeing that scene. But yeah, you're right. There was, like, each ending was like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And they had all of them.
I was watching it at the Victor Cinema,
Oh,
which
wow.
has tiny seats and tiny leg room. And
Oh, that would
it's
have been
like,
painful.
yeah, just hurry
You're
up.
talking
and
to a
finish.
6'6" person right
Yeah,
now.
yeah. And it was
Or as
just
he calls it, Monday.
just one of those ones where it's like, oh, just get on with it. And it was
Yeah.
a series I was so excited to see how, like, the final film.
For sure.
And yeah, I was done about the third false ending.
And that was good. Like, the builds, they left you hanging wanting more.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
which was really, really good. I just think it was so well done. Was that all filmed in the 1 year? Like, as in regards to...
It was all filmed at the same
Same
time, but I think
time?
it was like 3 years, and it was one of those things where, like, the crew became like actual best friends.
Yeah.
They all
Yeah,
got
yeah.
matching tattoos and
tats.
Yep.
stuff like that. I've only seen the first of the Hobbit trilogy.
I've
'cause
seen all
wasn't-
three.
What do you think?
When Smaug and all that get involved, I think it's pretty good. Like,
It would have been, it's the opposite of The Lord of the Rings. It would have been a perfect single film. It could have been one
Well,
movie.
it was
rather
a
than
story.
three.
I've read the Hobbit book, one of the 20 books I've read in my lifetime.
yeah.
And
Well, Thorin's turns into a badass, and I reckon that's pretty cool. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, it gets. I liked it.
because
Yeah,
I've
there was
seen
a
the
lot of filler,
screenshots
though.
of some of the characters that die in the Hobbit trilogy.
Yep.
Are the skeletons in the Lord of the Rings trilogy? And I was
Yeah.
like, that's awesome.
But the other part that
Yeah.
did annoy me is the shoehorning of Orlando Bloom and Legolas into the story,
That's-
which was it just seemed like we need to have a tie-in when they didn't need a tie-in.
Tie-in, yeah, exactly.
To force him in there, and it just didn't sit well with me.
Talking about bad CGI, that CGI where he's jumping on the barrels and shooting, that's terrible. Like that's it. Like I kind of figure everything else in the film is so good, and it just gets let down with stuff like that.
Me and Paul, the usual co-hosts, have a podcast where we do individual films each week. And one of our favourite things to do is look up erotica of the different films, like fan-written slash fiction.
Paul would love that
Yeah,
you've said
And
this is our thing to do.
Brilliant.
It is impossible to look up any film without it somehow coming back to someone's written a sex story about Lord of the Rings. Like, it is more so than Star Trek or anything. That's like the...
Really?
I think it has the most... Harry Potter as well, but they're all kids, so it's just super creepy.
Wow.
But yeah, Speaking of that, check out daysvideograveyard.com. But the final film on your list tonight is the greatest film in the history of mankind, starring Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly. Tell us what it is.
It is Step Brothers. So, not Dumb and Dumber, it is Step Brothers. This and Dumb and Dumber were probably the only two films, not only two, but two that probably did it most, made me legitimately laugh out loud watching. And I love John C. Reilly to death. We're talking before, his stuff on the Tim and Eric show and all that sort of stuff. I just think he's absolutely fantastic.
Check it. And I got so excited going and seeing Godzilla last year. Skull Island.
Yep.
Kong Skull Island. I don't know if you picked up on it.
He was good in that.
John C. Reilly was great in it. His leather jacket had "Good for your health" written on the back of it.
Yes, it did.
And I was like, that is so good, because that was the original tagline of Check It Out with Steve Brule.
Dr. Steve Brule, which is a character that he plays, which is amazing.
Step Brothers is my all-time favourite comedy.
Yep, and it is mine
One
too.
of them, pretty much every line in it is a quotable line. Have you seen it, and do you love it, Shannon?
I have not seen this.
Oh,
I have not seen it.
Oh, you need to go and watch it.
I remember when we were friends.
Yeah, it's one I've just never actually sat down and watched. I haven't seen it.
Oh my god, no, it is.
Do you meet more people that have seen Talladega Nights than this?
No, I thought Talladega Nights was a bit of a sleeper. I didn't think.
I didn't think it was as funny, but it seems to be the more known film.
No.
Yeah, it seems it. It's on TV a lot more, I guess.
I like Talladega Nights. I thought that was funny, but there's so many good lines in that as well.
Yes.
And from like John C. Reilly, the whole when they're like sitting down at the table for Thanksgiving and they're saying what they're thankful for, it's just amazing.
I had a guy working with me that had never seen the film, but his favourite film was Highlander.
Oh,
And
yeah.
anytime he brought it up, I'd say, "Oh, you know, it won the Academy Award." And he's like, "What for?" I'm like, "Greatest film ever." And he totally didn't know it was a joke. And so he was going around telling people a line from Talladega Nights, not realising it was a joke line. And I was like, he stopped working with us. And I'm like, I wonder if that joke's still paying off.
Yeah, it's still
Where
going.
anyone that knows it's from Talladega Nights thinks that's what he's joking about. But in fact, it's just his favourite film. And he thinks... you are borrowing this film. I will lend you the DVD because
You need to watch it.
It's must. Do not watch it with your family.
Right.
As I learned, it's got a lot of F words in it.
But it's just so well done, and the comedy is awesome from start to finish. There's no sleeper spots in it. It's
No.
just gold. So,
And because I remember the trailer for this was the scene where Will Ferrell is burying John C. Reilly is burying Will Ferrell alive.
Yep.
And that's probably the least funny bit.
It is.
Even though it's
because
still
they have
funny.
that fight, and it's always like a bit of a slapstick joke
Yeah.
where the others are just legitimately funny.
I love his crying. I'm still alive.
Just be quiet. You're still throwing dirt on him.
Shh, you're waking the neighbours.
But just like, I don't know, it's even got good slapstick in there as well, which is rare to find nowadays. But
it is a perfect comedy.
It is. And nothing is ever going to beat Boats and Hoes either. So it's just, if you haven't seen it, it's on the premise of two stepbrothers that are full-grown men that come together, that hate each other to start off with.
Their parents marry.
Yeah, their parents marry. They're not fans, which is hilarious within itself, how they deal with each other not being friends, and then they work out that they're actually...
And they're basically just dead shits. Like,
yeah.
Don't have a job, don't want to get jobs. They're 40 and have never had jobs.
And they go for job interviews, which is the greatest thing ever. They have no concept of the real world. They've been mothered crazily. They're like...
It's basically a look at society now, really.
Pretty much. It's millennials.
Yeah.
So, shots fired. So, and then, they become the best friends ever and start their own company. And it's just, I don't know, it's just fantastic. So, yeah, like I said, this is one of the few movies where I like comedy. I like stand-up. But sometimes I think comedy put into movies as scripted rarely hits the mark. But this definitely hit the mark. So
I quote this so often in so many situations, even when it doesn't make sense. I'm always yelling this as a house of learned doctors whenever I'm arguing with my kids. It's what a great time.
It's
you got
great.
a show coming up December 8th. Yes,
December 8th. So, like I said before, it's our final show of the year. It's our big one. This is our WrestleMania. So we have, for those that come to the wrestling regularly, we have the storylines. This is what we call the blow-off. So it's
that's
sort of,
what Brodie does in the car park to you afterwards for an extra fee.
Nominal fee. It's
gold coin donation. A round coin donation.
Sometimes I pay you, but it's our big show, so it's our crescendo. So we put a lot of effort into this. We'll do stuff we normally wouldn't do on a normal show in regards to some of the risks that we take.